In our viewing area outside on the lawn, Starbase employees.
Engines, and 3 of them feature the larger vacuum-optimized nozzles called
Hola.
RVACs. And as a member of the
Bienvenidos.
Raptor team, I can tell you that we're all incredibly excited to put V3 to
Bienvenidos
the
a
test
este
today
lanzamiento
and demonstrate the
que tenemos hoy día
capabilities of our most
de
advanced engine.
el
And
Starship
we'll get into all the exciting
V3.
new details in just a few moments.
Yeah, that excitement is well warranted, Jake. Raptor and Starship V3 are designed to be foundational for the future of the program. They're designed to enable us to send payloads and eventually people all the way to the moon and Mars, ultimately helping us make life multiplanetary and extending the light of consciousness to the stars.
Yeah, and in the meantime, we're planning to put Starship to work shortly by launching bigger and more powerful Starlink version 3 satellites. These new satellites aim to substantially increase capacity in orbit, strengthen the network, and deliver an improved experience for customers on Earth. Starship will also carry our upcoming V2 Starlink mobile satellites, which are expected to provide direct 5G connectivity from space straight to mobile phones worldwide.
Now, as a reminder for all of you watching at home, what we're doing today is a test. Like we mentioned earlier, we've redesigned the majority of this rocket and its systems. From the outside, for those of you that have tuned in before, it might look pretty familiar, but beneath the surface, it's all new. And the primary objective today is to put it all together in a real, live flight environment. In order to learn, we gotta launch.
Yeah, and really it's the data we're expecting to get back from today's flight that's going to bring us closer to making Starship operational and unlocking the next generation of our future in space. So no matter the outcome of today's test flight, excitement is guaranteed.
Most definitely. And speaking of excitement, Dan Hewitt is in a pretty exciting place. He's stationed just outside of the Launch Control Center, a couple floors above us. How's it going up there, Dan?
Kate, it couldn't be going better. We have a blue sky outside. I'm beyond psyched. Hello, everybody. I'm Dan Hewitt with SpaceX Communications. It's been far too long. Welcome back for another Starship launch. Things are looking good. We are counting down. We moved into our window a little bit, but we are looking good right now at this moment. Behind me, you see the flight control team, the on console, looking at the rocket, the pad, the range, the weather, everything as we count down to liftoff. We're going to be getting into prop load in just a couple of minutes, and we are counting down to a liftoff at 6:30 p.m. Central Time. The weather is great. We haven't had a blue sky all day. There you can see almost nothing but that. We were fighting some upper level winds a little bit earlier.
Sí,
that's why we moved into our launch window. But the great news is we are looking go for launch. Also, we're monitoring the range, so air and sea space.
Pocos minutos para que empiece a cargar combustible en el vehículo. Entonces vamos a un poco ir viendo cómo funciona el cohete.
Other than that, all of the hardware brand new. New booster, new ship, new engines, new pad. Let's nerd out. Let's dive right into it. So there it is on the pad. Say hello to Starship version 3. As Kate noted, some of the outside might look familiar, but we've made extensive upgrades across every single system. Start with the big picture because Starship still very, very big. Just over 407 feet tall, fully stacked, a little bit taller.
120 metros de tamaño. Es gigante este cohete, ¿no? Entonces ahí nos están explicando un poco
The bottom half is our super heavy booster, and there are some pretty visible structural changes on the outside. We'll jump in. You've got version 3 on the left there, version 2 on the right. At the very top, we've changed from a one-time use hot stage adapter that used to pop off to one that's
nos están explicando un poco del hot stage ring que antes lo botaban por peso, les tuvieron que hacer después de el cohete. Escuchemos un poco lo que...
Non-structural layer of steel. It's what's protecting the top of that booster when we do hot stage separation. Moving down a little bit, we went from 4 grid fins to 3. We made them 50% bigger and higher strength. Just a reminder, that's what booster is using to kind of steer itself as it's flying back for a catch. We're also now going to use those grid fins for lift and catch itself. We zoom in a little bit and you can see new catch points now on those grid fin structures. Moving inside the rocket, we redesigned the fuel transfer tube. This is the really big tube inside the rocket that's moving all of that liquid methane down to the Super Heavy's 33 Raptor engines. It's going to help us flip faster, and we can now start up all of the engines simultaneously. This thing is big. It's about the size of a Falcon 9 first stage, which gives us the fun realization that we kind of put a rocket inside of our rocket. The very bottom of the booster looks very different. You've got those new Raptor 3 engines that enabled us to delete the bulky heat shields, the engine shrouds that we had on the previous generation. And then all of the propulsion, avionics hardware for those engines are super tightly integrated now and protected by much slimmer shielding. Move on up, second stage. This version of Starship is designed to carry massive orbital payloads. We're talking up to 100 metric tons to Earth orbit, the Moon, and Mars. The biggest changes are pretty much all under the hood. We gave the propulsion system a clean sheet redesign, increased the propellant tank volume, and improved our reaction control system, our steering while we're on orbit. When we X-ray inside, the PEZ dispenser is now supercharged, a little bit of turbo, and that's going to allow us to increase the deploy speed for each of those satellites. Today, we're actually flying the heaviest payload we've ever carried on Starship.
Ahorita están mostrándonos los satélites. Ahora lo interesante es que los satélites de los 22 satélites que están mandando, 2 van a tener cámaras para poder ver el heat shield, la coraza de protección. Entonces va a estar súper chévere ver esa coraza en vivo desde el espacio. Ahora aquí están los motores, los Raptor 3.
System. We bumped up the thrust, so putting out more force, went from 230 to 250 tons force on those sea level engines, 258 all the way up to 275 on the vacuum optimized ones. When you look at all of the generations of Raptor lined up, all of those fiddly bits, the sensors, feed lines, controllers, everything that you were used to seeing around Raptor 1 and 2, a lot of those have either been deleted, best part is no port, or they're internally integrated and protected inside of the engine itself. That let us dramatically cut down on the weight of the engine, make it easier to manufacture, dramatically cut down on the weight of the engine, make it easier to manufacture in Hawthorne. We got, there's our Hawthorne manufacturing team getting ready to see their engine. We got space, there's our Hawthorne manufacturing team getting ready to see their engine. Wizards, appreciate you getting us some vehicles on the pad today. But incredible amount of effort. World's best engineering team works here at SpaceX. Get this rocket to that pad ready to launch. And we've been trying to follow more of it and document some of it. And if you haven't seen it, check out our new docu-series, Starship.
Bueno, aquí ya pocos se van a ir a contarlos lo que...
Bring together the pad and vehicle pieces to make sure that they all work.
Static fire vehicle is in pre-pad clear, about to get to our static fire pad cleared op state.
We run 60 seconds on ship because you get to see how the vehicle thermals all shake out and just general vehicle performance.
That if you can make it through that you're in a reasonable position to go fly.
Start up. Throttle up. Plus 10.
The journey of SpaceX is a journey to give humans access to the solar system and beyond, which is really the goal for Starship.
Plus 20.
The impact that this rocket is going to have on the world, I don't think most people can really comprehend the change that's going to happen.
Plus 30.
This is such a wild ride. The highs are high, the lows are low, as we really work to get to ultimately launching people, which is going to be amazing.
Plus 40.
It is not impossible just because it's far beyond what has been done before. We've proved that time and time again.
Plus 50. Full duration.
Oh man, like Dan said, we've got the world's best engineering team, and I love this docu-series because it's allowing us to get a peek behind the curtains.
Yeah, the full thing is 25 minutes long, and I think I've watched it 4 or 5 times already. That's how good it is.
Same.
But yeah, so just as the team has been working hard on a brand new rocket, we've also redesigned the ground systems. The brand new Pad 2, that you can see on your screen here, is making its big debut today.
We took everything we learned from operating on Pad 1 to create this totally new launch pad. Pad 2 is optimized for full and rapid reusability. We've upgraded our propellant farm with much more storage and more pumps to enable super fast filling for launch and relaunch. On the tower, we changed to shorter chopsticks, which enable even faster motion to better track vehicles flying in for catch.
Yeah, we also changed the actuators driving those chopsticks from hydraulics to 100% electromechanical, increasing their speed, redundancy, and reliability. On the ground, the launch mount was completely redesigned, and if I had to describe it in one word, I'd say it's robust. With the extensive concrete and steel cladding, it almost feels like you're looking at a battleship, not a launch pad. But it's also smarter. We've separated the fuel and aux systems into different compartments and repositioned the booster quick disconnects to be out of the vehicle's plume during liftoff.
Yeah, and perhaps the most obvious change, we've now got a bi-directional flame diverter. We said goodbye to the pancake, and a new top deck flame deflector to eliminate metal wearing down, which will help us get to 0 refurbishment between launches. In fact, that new flame trench and the new chopsticks are featured here on our new Pad 2 launch shirts. This launch pad is built for maximum safety and fast turnaround because making life multiplanetary will require launching a lot of starships. And as the countdown continues, let's change gears for a moment and head over to Tyler Lionquist in Hawthorne to talk about Starlink. How's it going over there, Tyler?
Hey, Kate, and thank you. We're back in Hawthorne, and we have a crowd forming outside of Mission Control ready to see some starships fly today. And like Jake mentioned earlier, on today's flight, we're deploying 20 Starlink simulators, plus 2 modified Starlink satellites, which our team internally refers to as Dodger Dogs, because we stretch that V2 mini satellite propellant tank so that it sticks out from both ends of the satellite. You can see it right there. It is just missing some mustard and onions. So the Dodger Dog serves as a tech demo between the V2 and the V3 Starlink satellites and will act as a platform for testing those V3 components. So the larger V3 satellites aim to greatly expand the network's capacity, while V3 hardware is designed to support faster Wi-Fi and improved broadband speeds to customers while providing a significant capacity upgrade from the V2 Mini. And in addition to delivering future V3 satellites to the Starlink network, we believe Starship will enable us to launch our AI satellites. As you may have seen during the TerraFab event in Austin a few months ago, Elon laid out the path to revolutionize cloud computing and AI infrastructure, leveraging the unlimited power of the sun, targeting 100 gigawatts to 1 terawatt of AI computing power annually. And from there, we're looking at connectivity beyond our planet too. Building on the technologies used to connect people on Earth, the Starlink team is exploring using Starlink to enable high bandwidth connectivity around the moon. With a constellation of satellites designed to connect to user terminals on the lunar surface, we could relay data back to our Starlink constellation in Earth orbit. So traditionally, deep space comms have relied on radio frequency transmission. This new design would use lasers to relay data back to Earth, which can massively increase the bandwidth available to future lunar missions. We currently have thousands of lasers operating in our Starlink constellation around Earth. Deploying that technology around the moon could connect it with hundreds of terabits of capacity. Together, this could provide the connectivity backbone between the Earth and the moon and enable gigabit connectivity anywhere on the lunar surface, providing data for rovers, habitats, and astronauts, and hopefully some incredible views for us back on Earth too. So all of that adds up to a lot of satellites. But the good news is that there's still plenty of space in space. But that said, the Starlink team takes space safety extremely seriously, and we work hard to encourage best practices across the entire industry so space stays open for as many people as possible.
There are tens of thousands of known space debris in low Earth orbit right now. All of that debris comes from man-made activities.
A lot of people talk about space being really congested, and they show this dust cloud around the Earth of all these points, and it looks like space is super, super crowded. I think if you take all the spacecraft that are in orbit, it's equivalent to about 3 aircraft flying over California at one time. So space is so much bigger, so many dimensions that are much beyond what we can comprehend. But even though it's big, there still is a potential that these satellites could collide and could hit each other if we don't proactively share information.
The orbit of objects follow Kepler's laws of motion, explained by Newton's laws of gravitation. So they orbit the Earth in very predictable trajectories, as long as another force doesn't act on them. So you can reasonably fit millions of satellites into an orbital shell with that math. Obviously, to make that happen, you have to have really tight coordination between all those satellites, and everything has to work really well together. Starlink satellites make something like 1,000 collision avoidance maneuvers on a daily basis. We predict that a close approach will occur between another satellite or a piece of space debris. We use the thruster of the satellite to make a maneuver and keep away from the trajectory of that object and reduce the probability of collision to effectively zero. Because most of the actual collision risk comes from the surface area of the solar panels, we lower the solar panels to reduce the cross-section in the plane of the close approach to further reduce risk. On Starlink, I'm also excited to talk about a program we call Stargaze. Cameras on the satellites looking up into space, measuring the star field. You can imagine 10,000 satellites staring up into space and detecting all the objects in low Earth orbit. You effectively almost have a real-time view of what's happening in the low Earth orbit environment.
Oh, qué increíble lo que es esto.
So we began detecting objects and fitting orbits to those objects, and currently we're tracking about 50% of the objects with perigees below 600 kilometers. This project has opened our eyes a bit to the activities that are occurring in space that are not being published. So we have many examples in Starlink satellite footage where an object came within tens of meters of a Starlink satellite, yet this was not predicted. This is extremely concerning because this type of incident could have resulted in a collision.
Last year, we flew 165 missions to space. As an industry leader, we would like to create a community where all industry providers share data back and forth. They tell us where their spacecraft are, they track their spacecraft as soon as they're deployed, they make them available to others so we know where everyone is. You know, there's some thought that if I keep my satellite position confidential and I don't share that with anyone, no one will know where my satellite is. Well, I think that's really fictitious.
Bueno, un poco cambiando de tema, no tengo cómo mostrarles, pero está ya el cohete subiendo el nivel de combustible dentro de propelente, dentro de los tanques. Ya la nave está con oxidante un 20-25% de propelente, de combustible, ya debe estar en igual un 20%. El propulsor está igual 30% y de metano está un 20%. Pero estos videos del Starlink están mostrando, es algo increíble como el tema de los debris, de la basura espacial que todavía hay, que hay un montón de basura espacial y hay un montón de cosas que nadie lo ha reportado. Lo que comentaban en esos videos nos muestra cómo de repente pedazos de otros satélites, de otros cohetes o cualquier cosa pasa cerca de los satélites que pudo haber sido una explosión y causar mayor desastre, mayor, mayor basura, más basura espacial, que es más difícil recuperarla después, más pequeños y son fragmentos mucho más grandes, más pequeños, perdón, que pueden llegar a ser más dañinos con el...
Starlink's future is bright and helping ensure space safety for all operators along the way.
con otros, ¿cómo se llama? Otros satélites o otras naves en el futuro. Ahorita la trayectoria que va a hacer el cohete es la siguiente. Bueno, el rato que despegue, el cohete va a hacer todo una maniobra de pad avoidance para que no dañe y empezará a salir. Cuando esté arriba, se separará después de apagar la mayor parte de sus motores y hace un encendido en caliente la nave y la nave va a seguir en su trayectoria hasta el mar Índico entre Cuba y la península de Yucatán. En el espacio va a botar esos dos satélites, esos 20 satélites y esos dos hot dogs que le llaman para poder ver cómo está el reingreso, la nave y también la coraza de protección, a ver en qué estado está. Esta es la trayectoria y ojalá logramos ver, de seguro nos van a mostrar algunas cosas súper chéveres.
And actually, in just a few moments, thanks to Starlink, we'll be going live to the Indian Ocean and chatting with the ship recovery team stationed out there.
Van a tener un ship recovery team. Wow, va a ser increíble. Van a tratar de recuperar la nave y ahorita van a hablar con la gente que está en el Océano Índico esperando la nave y es la nave es el equipo de recuperación. Increíble. Qué hermoso.
As you can see, we have started our propellant load. That happened at about 36 minutes before T0. We're loading about 20% faster on pad 2 than we did on pad 1.
Qué increíble, ya está, miren, 40% combustible en los dos tanques del propulsor, 40 de oxígeno y 40 de metano, el CH4. Y la nave está a 60% de oxígeno líquido y 55% de metano. Nos fuimos.
3 minutes right before launch, 3 minutes 20 on ship, 2 minutes 50 on the booster. So we go pretty much right down to the wire. But as of this moment, still looking good. T0 set for 6:30 p.m. Central Time. Continuing to load prop, continuing to count down. All right. If you've been following along with these launches, you know we've been sending these suborbital and they splash down in the Indian Ocean. How the heck do we see some of that? Well, we have our recovery team, our Starship recovery team, and one of their primary jobs is to get those re-entry views and a whole lot more. We're going to take them now. We're joining them out in the Indian Ocean. We've got
y ahí están en el Océano Índico.
From the recovery ops, he might be frozen. Let me know if you can hear me, Suren. How's everything looking out there in the ocean?
Dan, I can hear you loud and clear. We're sitting in about 8-foot waves, but it's looking like a clear day, ready for a ship to come on through.
All right, man.
Wow, increíble. Ellos van a poder ver a la nave reingresar. Wow, recovery engineer. Ingeniero de recuperación.
Now seven of these missions, and with every mission we've seen it evolve, and but our primary goal has always been to clear the range. So just like we do over in the Gulf, the same kind of happens here. We send 1 to 2 boats out and we make sure there's nothing in the area so the rocket is clear to land. And then once we can guarantee that and have the rocket leave the pad, then we can proceed to imagery collection. So we have like...
Ay, qué pena, se está moviendo, se está perdiendo un poco la...
We'll see if we can get him.
Pero bueno, ellos van a tener ahí toda la información para poder recibir a la nave. Comentaban que mandaban a 2 naves, a dos drones primero para ver si es que había alguien ahí. Y lo que hacen es, miren, ponen esas cámaras de Insta360 con un Starlink en unas boyas alrededor del lugar del splashdown de la nave. Entonces ahí es donde podremos ver el autonomous vehicle, say clear, cómo se ponen, claro, cómo va, está solito.
It's super critical for us to see just how that heat shield performed after re-entry.
Están hablando que quieren ver cómo el heat shield funciona en el ingreso, ¿no? Entonces ahí están las boyas motorizadas. Son unos robots, boyas, que se mantienen estables en el mismo lugar para poder ver tomas de la nave reingresando. Es increíble. Bueno, hagan sus preguntas. Si tienen alguna duda o alguna cosa, aquí estamos para aprender, recibir preguntas, para contestarles y ir aprendiendo un poco sobre la exploración espacial y sobre SpaceX, más que nada, y el programa Starship. Que si vieron mi TEDx, ahí un poco expliqué cómo es el funcionamiento del Starship. Y ahora que estemos en vivo, durante el lanzamiento, vamos a ir viendo cómo funciona.
I actually hosted the live webcast for our very first launch at Pad 39A, and it was so exciting to see that come back to life. It's also exciting to see how today.
Bueno, ahora estuvimos en el vuelo de Artemis, fuimos a visitar el Cabo Cañaveral y Kennedy Space Center, y tuvimos la oportunidad de subirnos en un tour que fue justamente por esa calle que estaba ahí alrededor, y pudimos ver esta torre, que es una torre inmensa, una torre de 200 metros de altura, que tiene esos brazos gigantes para recibir el propulsor y a la nave para aterrizar. Vimos el edificio, Giga Bay que le llaman, que es donde van a construir los Starship y los propulsores, los boosters. Es un edificio también gigante, va a ser uno de los edificios más grandes que hay en el mundo por tamaño, por altura, por volumen. Antes era, por ejemplo, el edificio más grande era el edificio donde el VAB, el Vehicle Assembly Building, que es donde se hizo el Saturno 5, o el SLS, era el edificio con mayor volumen, ahora ya no.
That's right, Kate. Yeah, crashing the webcast again. Bill Riley, VP of Starship Engineering. Thanks for coming, Bill. We wanted like a couple of minutes to geek out about the moon. Like Artemis 2 just flew humans around the moon for the first time in like 50 years.
Vamos a ver qué nos dice Bill, que es el vicepresidente de Starship.
I found it really inspirational. I think part of being a spacefaring civilization is being out there exploring, and I thought Artemis 2 got us back to the moon and back exploring and being out farther than we had been before.
It's always wild when you see space stuff kind of break through into the mainstream, and like it felt like that really did it. And I mean, that's going to continue happening. We're looking at the higher cadence of missions in Artemis, and Starship's obviously going to play a pretty big role in the entire Artemis program, but like what's kind of next on the horizon?
I think what's exciting about Artemis 3 is you'll see the landers introduced now. So maybe we're talking to NASA about doing an Earth orbit rendezvous where the Starship-based lander could be in proximity to Orion or even more. I think that's really the next step. Prove out those landers close to home in Earth orbit, and then looking ahead, going to the moon.
And we're debuting V3 now, and just some of the stuff that's now on this version of Starship is going to directly enable some of that, or it's planned to, correct?
That's right. So V3 is exciting because it really introduces a lot of, it's designed to introduce all these fundamental foundational features that allow us to go out past the Earth. So for example, there's many features, but some that are visible are the docking adapters below the PEZ door that you'll notice on the as-built ship. And then as we look out past V3, there's other configurations of Starship. There is a tanker that takes the propellant to dock with the lander that will land on the moon. And think of the on-orbit propellant transfer as sort of like the gas station in the sky. And then that gas station will be what we call the depot.
Bueno, el vehículo, les cuento que ya está un 50% el propulsor llenado de combustible y de oxígeno, y la nave ya está de oxígeno.
That's right. We have to build up to that capacity. So the first landers will be, a new set of blueprints.
Pero sí, bueno, se viene un tema súper chévere, súper interesante con el despegue. Ahorita nos está contando Bill sobre la luna,
might even be staying inside the landers, and then as we look to an even brighter future, having a permanent presence in a moon base.
Yeah, I'm ready for the moon base. I need to go to the moon. That's definitely in my. It sounds like a hell of a week-long vacation or one heck of a trip, but and I mean this is the next step on making life multiplanetary.
Wow, right? Absolutely, it's literally the next
pensando la gente de SpaceX. Increíble, esos son los como están planificando este tema del Terafab, que es una fábrica de chips y demás cosas en la Luna.
Last year, the From-2 crew made history. They were the first astronauts ever to explore Earth's polar regions from space in Dragon. I got to catch up with that mission commander from that, Chun Wang. He was visiting one of the most remote places on the planet, and he had some exciting news. Awesome to talk to you. Start me off. Where the heck are you right now?
Thank you for joining me to Vuelo Island, and this isolated island in the South Atlantic. It's arguably the most remote island in the world.
It looks super isolated. You're only there with a couple of people. Kind of feels like a space mission to me.
Está en una misión, este señor está en una isla, una de las más remotas. Bueno, obviamente está con Starlink, ahí vemos la antena en el piso, obvio. Entonces está un poco haciendo la misión de lo que se va a Marte, de cuando están ahí.
Let's get it started with a flyby.
Doing a flyby of Mars, that's a heck of a trip, but you're kind of built for this kind of mission, right? Because if you're not landing on the surface, you're spending a long time going out there, you're going to fly by it. It's going to be like just an insane couple of hours, and then it's a big trip back home. How are you kind of built to handle this kind of a journey?
This actually my style of pilot. I can stare at the map view on airplane all the way from takeoff to landing. So I think I'm enjoying the trip.
So it's not just the Mars flight, you're also going to be taking a trip around the moon, right? So kind of do that step before heading all the way out to Mars.
Yes, because even though it's just a flyby, it will try a lot of things that never been attempted before.
How do you kind of see these types of missions in kind of the grand scheme of everything?
It will light the fire. It will ignite imagination, and it will build the momentum. After we come back from Mars, you'll have an opportunity to take some real photos of Mars. Mars will no longer become a distant place. It will become reality.
Well, Chun, thanks for calling in from the other side of the planet. Super cool location, super cool to talk to you, and exciting. You're going to get on Starship. You're going to go around the moon and then do the first flyby of Mars. It's insanely exciting stuff.
Yeah, looking forward to that.
Oh man. Fireworks indeed. Just incredible to be one of the first humans to become an interplanetary traveler while also joining Starship's first mission to fly past the moon.
Yeah, Chun is certainly a one-of-a-kind
indicado. Está entrenando para hacer un flyby de Marte y también obviamente viajar a la Luna, pero él está planificando. Bueno, un poco. A ver, la nave ya parece que está llena de propelente. Ya voy a verles en el... a ver, estamos a 10 minutos. A 10 minutos. Todavía no. Todavía falta, nos debe estar faltando un 5% en la nave y un 20% en el propulsor. Un 10 y un 20% de propelente y de oxidante en el propulsor y en la nave. Vamos a ver cómo nos va. Pero increíble lo que se viene. Aquí viene otro video de SpaceX.
And as you've seen throughout today's show, there is a tremendous amount of activity happening right here at Starbase, Texas. Here and everywhere, it's all part of the incredible opportunity that we have to build the future of humanity.
Yeah, so if you're interested, visit spacex.com/careers.
Bueno, si alguien quiere ir a trabajar a SpaceX, ahí está, spacex.com/careers para ir a trabajar en SpaceX. Tienes que ser americano o tener visa. Nosotros aquí
yourself.
ecuatorianitos
Once
no
again,
nos,
this is the first
no nos
flight
deja.
test of Starship version 3. This will be the first time that we are debuting this booster, this ship, the launch pad that you see there. And you can see people walking over my shoulder here as our colleagues are moving in
Ya se está
masses
poniendo
to go
cada vez
watch
más cerca.
this
Vamos
liftoff
más
in,
cerca.
just over 7.5 minutes from now.
Yeah.
It's pretty exciting stuff.
It's pretty exciting, and as a reminder, we're only a mile and a half away here. So we are very close, about as close as you can be, and we're definitely expecting to feel it.
Sorry to interrupt you, Jake. Hi. Do we have a mic?
Miren quién llegó. Nicki Minaj.
Hello, for those of you that might not know.
Qué lindas uñas.
Welcome, Nikki. It's so nice to have you here.
It's a pleasure to be here.
Oh my gosh. What do you think the Barbs are going to say when they see you here at Starbase?
They better say all good things.
Bueno, una de las canciones, ahí está ella, porque es una invitada VIP a Starbase. Siempre saben poner la canción de Nicki Minaj, la de Starships. Entonces, no puedo cantar porque, obvio, pero...
Is it about to happen at any minute?
So you see that number right there in the top left corner, 6.5 minutes.
6 minutes left?
Yes.
Oh my gosh, but this is historic. This is a major moment, y'all.
Yeah.
It is.
Is this your first rocket launch that you've seen live?
Yes.
Wow.
Wow.
How do you feel?
Very, very excited.
Pobre, está con miedo. No le sirve el micrófono.
I just noticed your shirt. You've got the right swag.
I love this shirt.
It's a great shirt. I have one as well.
And it's a great name, Starship.
I mean, how did you predict the future? Starships are meant to fly.
I do not know. But major shout out
Ya
to
muestren el
everyone.
cohete, niños.
Thank you
Por
for
favor.
everything that you're
Quiero ver el
doing for
cohete.
humanity.
He's the man, for sure.
Okay.
Well, thank you so much.
All right, I'll see
we
you guys
we want to
later.
watch the launch with you,
Okay, yes.
so we'll take this back because this is too loud to take outside. Wow, what a moment. And with that, great timing. We're now at 5.5 minutes.
5 minutes.
This brings us into terminal count.
5 minutos, ya vamos al terminal count. De aquí viene a los 2 minutos y medio, 3 minutos, el propulsor va a estar lleno ya de combustible. Y a los 2 minutos 10 la nave va a estar llena de combustible.
Almost entirely full on ship on our main, still doing the header tanks, and we're looking well in excess of 90% on the booster, so we are looking good. Still not tracking any range, any weather issues today, not tracking any technical problems on the vehicle, on the launch pad, looking good for liftoff in just under 5 minutes.
Ahí está. Bueno, la parte negra de arriba es la nave, es lo que se le llama al Starship. Y lo de abajo, lo que está ahora blanco, lleno de hielo, es el propulsor, es el booster. El booster de abajo, ese tiene 33 motores Raptor 3. Cada uno de estos motores da 250 toneladas de empuje. Sí, tiene 33 para poder levantar todo ese cohete. El cohete mide 124 metros de altura. Ya es el cohete más grande de la historia. No ha habido nada más grande que este. Solo para tener en cuenta, déjenme les doy aquí el dato. ¿Dónde está mi? Bueno, aquí está, les voy a dar un poco de datos. Como cuando vemos ya, la nave está 99% llena y el propulsor 95%, 94-95%. De eso, solo para tener un poco de cuenta, la altura del propulsor son 70 metros, ¿no? Y le entra de propelente 3.650 toneladas de propelente entre combustible y oxígeno líquido. 75 metros de altura, 72 metros de altura. Tiene 33 motores, 20 motores en el anillo exterior que no se mueven. Los anillos interiores todos son de movimiento, son los que le ayudan a moverse al cohete y a controlar controlar su ascenso.
The booster goes to internal power and its engines get their final priming for launch, while the ship's engines begin their ascent bleed profile and arms the automatic flight safety system.
Comparando con el Saturno V al despegue tenía 3.400 toneladas de fuerza. Starship al despegue va a tener 9.200, casi 3 veces más. Increíble la fuerza que tiene el cohete ahora. Es un cohete muy poderoso, muy fuerte el rato de despegue. ¿Sí? 2 minutos y medio, estamos listos para el despegue.
And there's a chance we could recycle, but the closer we get to T-10, the lower that chance becomes.
All right, we are coming up on 2 minutes. We have completed propellant loading on the booster.
Ya está completo el propulsor y la nave de propelentes, estamos listos. Ahora sí, 2 minutos, los 2 minutos finales. Aquí hacen una cuenta terminal entre todos y de ahí estamos a la espera. El Starship está preparado para hacer un hold down a los 40 segundos. Entonces vamos a ir esperando, vamos a esperar. Este es el primer vuelo de la versión 3 del Starship. Como vemos, esta ya es modificada. Esta es la que esperan hacer un vehículo operacional. Entonces, este vuelo es muy importante para SpaceX, para el proyecto de Artemis, ya que el Starship va a llevar una de las naves, el HLS, a la órbita y también a alunizar, aterrizar en la Luna o alunizar. Sí, bueno, ahorita sí venimos. 1 minuto y escuchemos al cohete. Se viene. Ahí vemos, ya hicieron todos los fuel dumps de la torre y del brazo. A los 17 segundos se prenderá
Alright, so we did hit the hold at T-40. Again, this is something that is built into the timeline. Not surprising as we are doing this first flight off of pad 2. Sounds like we might already be clear. We held for a second just to make sure that the quick disconnect vents were basically ready for their final throwbacks. So we'll hang tight for a couple of seconds. I think we're about to reset. And the reset is in. Counting down first flight of Starship V3. Psych, back to rapid recycle. All right, so hold here for a second. Looks like we're still managing some pressures in the ship quick disconnect.
Un tema en el desconector instantáneo de la torre. Ahí botaron algo más de
All right, still going to hang out for a couple of seconds here at T-40. Again, not surprising. This is new vehicle, new pad.
Nuevo
doing
vehículo,
all these things for the very first time.
Nuevo pad, ¿no? Es
right now we are holding,
lo que han hecho.
looking at some pressures in the quick disconnect and hold reset.
Se fue, reset. L.
Flight directors, go up to launch.
Flight Director está listo para el lanzamiento. ¿Y otra vez? ¿Qué pasó?
Back to rapid recycle, so we're going to hold at T-40 again. Hang tight for a second. We'll see what tripped this last one. A reminder, we can hang out for quite a few minutes at T-40 if we need the extra time. You're not actively loading propellant onto the vehicle anymore, so the main thing you're kind of keeping an eye on is all of the temperatures inside those propellants.
¿Qué pasó?
All
Esperemos.
right, we're continuing to hang out here at T-minus 40.
Todavía pueden esperar aquí. Aquí están haciendo un Raptor Recycle, que es...
Team's taking a look right now at our diverter, so that water diverter underneath the system did trip a hold, but that basically just gives the team the chance to look at it, see if it's something that we need to troubleshoot in data or if it's something that we can clear this hold. So continuing to hang tight, T-minus 40 seconds. Starship and Super Heavy fully loaded on the pad. Clock is rolling.
Ahora sí. Estamos listos. Se fue. 30 segundos.
2I-30, flight directors go for launch.
Flight directors go for lunch. Nos fuimos. Ahora sí. Bueno, los 17 segundos se prenderá
Kick back
otra
to
vez.
rapid
¿Otra
recycle
vez?
again.
¿Qué pasó?
Again, just a reminder,
Otra vez.
said it before, new pad, new rocket, learning new things about this hardware, performing in the flight environment. Taking a look at some of the sensors on the arm that manages the quick disconnect to the ship.
Algo está pasando con los sensores del quick disconnect del
The promise we're not just trying to prolong the anticipation.
nave.
Team's taking a look. We've got a couple more minutes where we can hang out here. Again, it's not an unlimited time to pause at T-minus 40. We're keeping an eye on the propellant temperatures inside the vehicles. So we've got probably about 3 minutes or so left of hold time.
Tienen 3 minutos más o menos de que pueden esperar. Ojalá
Team's
logremos.
taking a look at the hold that tripped on that arm for the quick disconnect on the tower.
Recordemos que es un vehículo nuevo, pad nuevo, todo nuevo. Es como de cero. No le sirve casi nada a lo otro, solo el tamaño básicamente.
Continuing to hold, got a couple minutes to try and clear this issue.
¿Qué será? ¿Qué será? Vamos, es que hay algo en X.
Still holding T-minus 40, still troubleshooting this issue. Probably got about a minute or a minute and a half left of hold time.
2 minutos más aproximadamente del hold. Veamos qué pasa. Uy, ahí están los motores. Estos son los 33 motores que están en la base del propulsor. Ahí están los 6 motores en cambio en la base de la nave. Los 3 motores grandes son los optimizados para el
Flight
vacío
control
del
team confirmed,
espacio.
still working through the issue.
Y los otros 3 son los de sea level, que son para
Still have a short amount of
optimizados
hold
para
time still
estar
remaining.
abajo de toda la atmósfera. El propulsor tiene 33 de los de nivel del mar y la nave tiene solo 6 motores, 3 de nivel del mar y 3 optimizados para el espacio, para el vacío del espacio.
Still holding T minus 40.
Vamos.
All right, still continuing to hold here at T minus 40. While we do that, the team's looking at temperatures of the propellant inside those tanks. We kind of check that against simulations that we've run in the past. There's some margin in those. We're still holding, no decision yet.
Todavía no hay decisión. Qué nervios. Es un nuevo cohete, un nuevo todo. Entonces, si yo estoy nervioso.
Sounding like we have the fix in place.
No.
Hold reset, clocks is rolling.
No, ya está. ¿Nos fuimos? ¿Ya? ¿Nos fuimos? No, otra vez. No, yo creo que no va.
We're back into rapid recycle. All right, we're back at our T minus 40 hold. Standing by to see what tripped us this time. All right, it is sounding like we are not going to be able to clear this issue in time today. So we are going to be standing down from a launch.
No.
So if you're just now joining us, we got the vehicle totally loaded. We hit a couple of different holds as we worked through that count. Again, new rocket, new pad. We're learning about a lot about these systems as we execute them for the first time, and we're not able to basically troubleshoot all of these issues in those final seconds to get to launch. But that essentially makes this a wet dress rehearsal. We were able to fully load the vehicles, and we're going to take the time now, figure out what tripped us up before launch, and then actually get into a flight tomorrow. We do have the ability to essentially rapidly recycle. We are expecting to be able to make another flight attempt tomorrow, but obviously stay tuned to our social media at SpaceX on X and our website, spacex.com, for updates. So no flight today. We will give it another try.
Vuelo hoy día. Bueno, esperemos mañana otra vez. Esperemos mañana a ver si es que logran SpaceX volar. Bueno, a los que me vieron, muchas gracias. Espero verles mañana o cuando sea. Like y suscribirse. Gracias.